When you are first doing a service call, when you walk in, you want to be magnetic and you want to have great energy where it's like, hey, Karen, how are you? How was your day? What's going on? Blah, 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 chit chat as we're walking through the house. I'll compliment some things. Oh my gosh, hey, I really love that. Hey, it's cool to set up in the kitchen for this. Is that cool with you? That's the best place to do it. Then, oh yeah, sure, that's fine. All right, cool. Let's pull, and I get straight into it. Let's pull out all your Cutco. Um, Mrs. Smith, so do you have pull out all your Cutco? So if you're like most people and you have the flatware, maybe some pots and pans, fishing, hunting, gardening, accessories, cutting boards, your block knives, like anything that you do have from Cutco, we'll go ahead and pull it out. Do you just have the knives or do you have the other stuff too?
Just nice.
Right? So right off rip, I'm like, yeah, you don't have enough. But I'm not telling them that, right? But I said that through my delivery,
Right.
right? So throughout this process, feel free to take any notes on what you can. But that's the first thing that I do is I walk in, magnetic energy. Wow, what a beautiful home. Hey, let's go to the kitchen, pull out, if you're like most people and you have some other stuff like pots and pans, forks and spoons, fishing, hunting, and gardening, you can pull that out too, cutting boards, accessories. Miss Jones, do you just have the knives? Yeah, yeah, I just have the knives. Okay. All right. Hey, no big deal. And I'll start to sharpen them up here. So, Mrs. Smith, and then let's say that this was the set. I'll be like, all right, cool. So, Miss Smith, you have looks like you have one of our starter sets here. You have the medium set. A lot of people start with that, so that's amazing. Well, how did you, and then I go into Cutco. So, Miss Smith, how did you hear about Cutco? This is literally what I'm doing. Like I pull out the sharpening stuff. I'm like, so how did you hear about Cutco? And then they'll tell me their story. I'm going to set up for everything. Um, so great questions to ask when you're first sharpening are, how'd you first hear about Cutco? Was it a college kid like me, or was it one of the career professionals at the booth? So how'd you hear about Cutco?
Shoot.
College student? Okay. Was it someone that you knew? So these are any questions you don't ask, I would write them down. Was it someone that you knew?
Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay, nice. So your friend's daughter, and you got this from your friend's daughter? Okay, cool. What have you, another great question you can ask is, what have you, of course, pausing for now. So as I'm asking questions like, how'd you hear about Cutco? Right? Was it from a college kid or a professional? Another great question. Hey, were you concerned about the price when you first got Cutco? Like, did you think that it was really expensive and you were taking a risk? Hey, how do you feel about it now? Is it worth it? If you could go back in time, would you do it again? And then I'm asking about, hey, what's your favorite thing about Cutco? And throughout that process, you can tell stories. Like, oh yeah, like I know Lady Ethel Thurman. She's had the knives for 72 years, used them every day of her life, never had to replace them. When I saw her, she bought 3,000 more dollars from me because she loved Cutco so much. Um, not saying that you'll do that, Miss Smith. I mean, I sure hope you do, but not saying that you will. But and then, or my mom's had it for this. She loves the handle too, like whatever stories. And as I'm sharpening the knives, I'm going to comment on what I see. So, like, for example, if I'm sharpening one of their knives and I see that the edge is worn away at the front,
Mhm.
that means the customer is chopping like this. That's a telltale sign, right? If the edges are worn away just at the top and you can kind of feel, right? Versus at the other side, I'm going to say, hey, Mrs. Smith, do you happen to cut your steak like this? Or do you happen to maybe know if anyone's chopping with this knife? Because, um, The edges on the top are worn away, which indicates that it's being angled like this or chopping like this. And then if they, oh no, I don't think so, it's like, okay, well, hey, no big deal, just something I noticed. How do you use this tool? And every single tool, I'm asking them, so how do you use this? And I'm taking inventory of if they're using it wrong. So let's say I'm like, yeah, so Miss Jones, how are you using this? And they're like, oh yeah, I cut meat with that. I'm like, oh, okay, Mrs. Smith. I'll give you some tips after to make sure to I can help you keep this super sharp because it's not this one actually is not a meat knife, although it could be used. It's kind of like taking stilettos on the beach. Like it'll work, but it's not really like the most ideal. A lot of people end up doing that though. I'll help you with that later. But all right, cool. So you're using that one for that. What about this one, Miss Smith? Oh, you don't really use it, and then I provide value. Right. Oh, okay. So this one, the Hardy Slicer, it's actually our strongest knife for cutting through raw sweet potato, rutabaga, heavy style stuff, barbecues, big meaty stuff, squash. Do you ever do any of that? You do? Okay, you just never thought about using it. Hey, I totally get it. But hey, that's how you'd use this one. Start using this one a lot more. It's going to help you a lot. Um, and I go through and I'm paying attention to what they're missing. Like if they have I'm also asking questions through the process. Like, do you do their cooking habits? Do you do a lot of grilling? That's another great question. Do you do a lot of grilling? Do you host? How many people are over when you host? What's like the most specialty meal that you make? Are you doing a lot of chopping? All of those line me up to sell a complete set. Because if they do any of those things, it's an easy upgrade into the complete. If they don't, I'm hosed and I'm just going for gifts and accessories. But, you know, that's what I'm looking for. And that's the whole sharpening. Like we're building rapport and like at this like throughout the sharpening process, because it does take about 30 minutes to sharpen, I'm also building personal rapport. How long have you been in the neighborhood? Where are you from? What do you do for work? Relating to them, asking about their children, normal rapport based stuff. By the time I'm done sharpening, I know how they use every tool and what they don't use. I know about their family, their kids, their cooking habits. I'm taking notes the whole time. Make sense? Like the whole demo is pretty much closed by the time that I get done with sharpening because I know what angle to take, what I'm going to try and package to get them to buy, how it would serve them, and their pain points all in that 30 minutes. When I get done with the sharpening, okay, and it's a process, then they're not going to go watch TV because if they try to go and do that, I'm like, hey, Miss Smith, I know you're busy, but I do have to ask you like some questions. I'm going to provide some tips, some value to you. So I will need you here to chat with me. Don't worry, I don't bite. And if they're like, oh, honey, I can't do that. It's like, unfortunately, Mrs. Smith, I won't be able to do the sharpening if you're not present. Do you remember that confirmation text I sent you? And I said that I can't do it unless the main user is present. Don't shoot the messenger, Miss Smith. Talk to my manager, but I will need you present here. Is that okay? Can I steal you for 30 minutes? I promise I'll make you laugh. And I don't sharpen if they're not like gonna do it. If they're not gonna do it, then I'm gonna write down how they can do Cutco.com sharpening and drop it off at UPS and wish them well because I'm not wasting my time. And that's happened to me where I'm like, hey, Mrs. Smith, we can reschedule. No big deal. And I just blame it on the manager. My manager won't let me conduct service appointments without being able to talk with the customer. Um, because we're providing a full service. It's not just the sharpening. Now, if you just want sharpening, don't want to talk, don't want to hear any, like that's totally fine. But in that event, I can show you how to just drop it off at UPS and I can give you my contact information if you need any help with that. Or we can reschedule if you're too busy. Like, what would you like to do? I'm not going to let anyone jerk this guy around, right? Like, I'm not going to waste my time, but I can be polite about it, you know?
What about those like really like there's the one that happened yesterday. She's like in a walker. She's
Great. We can sell them a bunch of gifts for the grandchildren. And then you can have her sit down in the kitchen. I mean, they probably have a spot to sit. And that stems from the beginning. As we go through and we get done with the sharpening, the next step is giving value, right? Hey, Mrs. Smith, so I know you said you didn't know how to use some of the knives, right? So the steps of a service call, step one, rapport and all that stuff that we just covered. Okay. Step two of a service call is providing value to the customer by covering what each knife is supposed to be used for. By the way, when you do that, guess what they ask when you're like, hey, this knife is not actually for that, it's for this. What do you think the customer says at that point? Well, what knife would I use on that? And it's like the easiest like sell. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah, so Miss Smith, this knife right here, it's actually it's a straight edge. It's only for chopping, dicing, mincing veggies and maybe some fruits. Like it's not for like meats, bones, anything like that. It'll chip if you do. And then they say, well, Taylor, then what knife? It's like the easiest like like sale to make where you're like, "Oh, Miss Smith, I'll show you that." But for now, I want to make sure you're getting value with what you have. And I go through each thing and I teach them size of the blade, size of the food, Mrs. Smith. It's just like shoes. You have wedges, pumps, stilettos, heels. Four different types of the same shoe. They have different sizes of the heel for different occasions based on different settings. The knives are no different, right? They are the same. The size of the food is should match the size of the blade for safety and efficiency. And I teach them that on all their tools and how to use the straight edges. I teach them with the double D edge. It works best pulling back, not going up and down. Never go up and down on double D edges. It'll damage the edge and it's not going to work as well. I teach them that the old trick of double D edge means back and forth, straight edge means up and down or back and forth, but mostly up and down. I teach them with the chef knife. If they want to have the best experience, that they're going to put the tip on the cutting board and lever it back like this, not like this. That if the sharpest part of the blade is the back, not the front. I would have mentally made a note or written down anything that I went through where they're like, well, what would I use for that then? And that's going to segue my way. So I'd write the second, like you should have in your head the steps to a service call, right? Step one, sharpening rapport, cut rapport, get them to love you, create the space for the sale. Step two, provide value. Go through how they could use all the tools and create a space for a sale. Other things that you can do when you're giving them value for what they have, that's the part where you're really sharing with them what not to use the tools on to keep the knife sharp. So for example, it's like, hey, Miss Smith, like these table knives, hey, they do work on steak, but they're actually not as efficient as you might think. We have a steak knife for that. Creates a space for a sale, right? Same thing with, hey, Miss Jones, you do a lot of chopping. I wouldn't use this on the bigger portions because again, safety and efficiency, we have other tools for that. Um, and again, it always goes back to, oh, well, why do I have to do that? Miss Smith, you don't have to do anything. But, and then I use the shoes analogy. You don't have to do anything. Like you're wearing tennis shoes right now. Like you could go to the beach in those, right? Absolutely. Doesn't mean that you would want to. So it's not really about absolute necessity. I mean, in my opinion, it is, but it's more about what's safe, what's efficient, what's best, because these are lifetime tools. You know, we're not talking about a couple year purchase. But we have specials. I'll hook you up if you want, and no pressure. I'm just going through what I'd recommend. When I look at steak knives, right? Cutting boards, right? Oh, you only have one cutting board. Like, oh, we recommend multiple. Hey, we recommend having two table slash steak knives per person in the family so you don't have to be dishwashing all the time, right? So on and so forth. Third step of the service call is the forever guarantee. After that, I'm like, hey, so now that you know how to use everything and what you should and shouldn't do, I just want to remind you of the value of Cutco and what's included in your warranty. And we'll go through and I'm going to resell them, right, on how amazing the forever guarantee is. And Ms. Smith, a lot of people end up just forgetting what all is encompassing in this guarantee. And I'll go through each part, especially at 20%. Hey, most people do add to their collection over time. So remember, anything you add can be on a 5-month payment plan with no interest, refundable for 3 weeks, or exchangeable. By the way, that works on gifts too. So I just want to let you know. And then the next step is their wish list. And that's where I'm basically just using like booth the ultimate upgrade booth approach for past customers is basically what you do at the end. And then you walk through accessories, you know, products, and we can have a separate conversation on the actual wish listing, but I have a call scheduled for 12, so we'll have to leave it for now.